This is NVHA 19-0028, our 449th interview overall. It's September the 28th, 2019, and we're just a wee bit north of Anderson, Indiana, at the home of Bill Whitaker. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come and do this interview.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad to do it for you.
Very good. Well, let's start off with the basics. What is your full name?
Bill Edward Whitaker.
Okay, is it Bill or William?
Oh, no, my mother, she had a friend, and his name was Willie, and she never liked that. She says, "There's no Willie, this is Bill." And everybody asks me that because it's on my birth certificate, Bill Whitaker.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, the Bill or the Edward, are those family names, or?
No, I'm the only one that has it.
The only one? Well, it's a good combination.
Yes.
Yeah. And what is your date of birth?
7th month, 9th day of 1925.
Okay. And what was your highest rank in the military?
Machinist Mate, 3rd class.
Well, Machinist Mate Whitaker, where were you born?
I was born in South Bend, Indiana.
Okay.
And I was born in my grandmother's home.
Okay. Yeah.
And I didn't have a birth certificate because, and my sister never did either there. Neither one. The doctor never turned a birth certificate in.
Oh, really?
Of course, back in that time era, I guess they didn't. Some of them did, and some of them didn't.
Yeah, it was pretty loose back then.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember where the home was, or?
I can't tell you. Yeah, the home was 1111 North Kentucky Street.
Okay. Is it still there, or have you?
No, it was tore down.
Yeah.
When my grandmother passed away,
Okay.
her house and the house that my aunt lived in were right next door to each other. So my brother-in-law bought that property there and tore it down, and he expanded his house in.
Okay. All right.
And
That would work out. Yeah. Well, I take it your mother was there at the time. Can you tell me a little something about your mom?
well, she was 16 years old when I was born.
Wow.
And I had two sisters. I had one younger, both of them were younger than me, and my oldest one after me was 18 months younger than I was. And then the third one was 5 years younger.
Right.
And then I had three brothers that all died at birth there that
Oh, my.
was after that, back in the early 30s then.
Wow.
They all died at birth.
What was your mother's name?
Lulabelle.
Lulabelle?
Whitaker.
And what was her maiden name?
Smith.
Smith?
Lulabelle Smith.
Okay. Yeah.
My family there were, my grandfather worked on a farm that belonged to Studebakers. It was a peppermint farm
Okay.
that grew peppermint for Wrigley's chewing gum.
That would work out, being close
Yes.
by in Chicago.
Yeah. And then my grandfather was 30 years older than my grandmother.
Okay.
And when I realized he was my grandfather there, she was started working in a factory then. He had retired from farming there, and so that's how that was there. And one of my goals, I can remember when I was a kid, he lived to be 92 years old.
Wow.
And my goal there had always been there, I wanted to live at least 92 or longer.
Yeah.
So I have passed him.
Met and exceeded.
Yes.
What was your mom like? Was she a quiet person or an outgoing person?
Oh, she was an outgoing person. She liked to dance and everything like that there. So she was pretty outgoing.
Yeah.
My dad was kind of laid back. He didn't, of course, there's always one that in the family ordinarily that mouths off, just like here. She don't say anything, and I do all the talking.
And your dad, what was his name?
His name was Charles Eldon Whitaker.
Okay. And what was he like? You say he was a quiet guy.
Well, he was average there. He talked and everything, and but he was a pretty strict guy. I mean, there that he had served a little bit of time in World War I,
Okay.
but he never left the country. He became a baker and a cook there. So when he come back home to South Bend, he went to work at what they called Health Wind Tuberculosis Camp.
All right.
At South Bend.
Sure.
And he was the head cook and baker there.
Okay.
And then after a few years, why, it shut down. So from what I can remember there, he started driving a yellow cab taxi then in South Bend.
Right.
And he drove it until the Depression came along, and there wasn't much doing, and he got laid off. And he just did whatever odd jobs there that he could take and find.
Those are tough times.
And eventually, he had an uncle named Trace Prophet that lived in Anderson here that was a car salesman for a Buick dealer. And he told my dad there if he come to Anderson, why, he thought he could get him a job. So at that time, we had an old 26 Studebaker, and my dad and I came to Anderson and stayed there at my uncle's house there, and my uncle got him a job at Roof's Coal Company.
Okay.
And he worked that, and then some other odd jobs. He wound up some years later going to work for Greer Steel. He put his application in, and they told everybody that worked on construction there that any of them that wanted to come to work for Greer Steel, they could come to work for Greer Steel. So he did, and he worked there till, well, he had cancer and he finally died. So he didn't, and he died when he was 56 years old. So he died as a young man.
We sure did.
And
wow. Did your mother ever work outside of the home?
yes, she worked at National Tile.
Okay.
In fact, my first job was working at the National Tile. She got me a job there.
Oh, really?
I tried to enlist in the Navy.
Right.
She wouldn't sign for me to go. And so I was a sophomore at high school, and I said, well, I'm just going to quit school and go to work.
Yeah.
And so I quit school and went to work at National Tile. And I didn't work there too long, and then I went into the Navy.
What'd you do at National Tile?
Well, I worked on a line there, a conveyor line that had saggers, what they called saggers. They were made out of clay.
Okay.
And they put the tile in those saggers in between like this, before they put them in the coil, in the
kiln?
kiln.
Yeah.
They'd take them there and they'd run through the sprayers, and then they would take care and put them in the kiln to bake them there to get that shine and everything on it there.
All right.
And I didn't work there very long there. I only worked there about 3 months, and then I went to work for Greer Steel.
Okay.
And I worked there at Greer, I can't tell you how long. It wasn't, I didn't work there a year, and then I went into the Navy then. I got into the Navy.
Yeah.
And so I spent from 1943 to 1946 in the Navy. And I come back home, went back to Greer Steel, and of course, they give you the time that you was in service away. They
Right.
put that in with your thing.
Okay.
And I worked there until 1952. And Mr. Greer died, the fellow that owned the factory. and his son-in-law and wife took over the factory. He had one here and he had one in Dover, in Ohio.
Okay.
And so we started working. One week we'd work 5 days, next week we'd work 4 days, and next week we'd work 3 days, then it'd go back to the 5 days again. And I had a next door neighbor that worked at Eastside Jersey Dairy.
Right.
So he was telling them about me. So Eastside or Best Ever Dairy, well, it's had 3 different names.
Right.
But they called me up and wanted me to come and talk to them to see if I'd like to come to work for them. So I went there and talked to them and everything there, and they said, we'll give you a week to make up your mind if you want to come or not. And I said, okay. So I went back to Greer, and Bob Shoemaker was the general manager there.
Okay.
And he said, I'll tell you what, Bill, he says, I don't know how much longer that we're going to be here, but you can go try that job for a month, and if you don't like it, your job is here to come back to come to.
Wow.
Well, I went, and I
good
stayed
deal.
there 35 years.
Yeah.
I was a route salesman for 35 years for them.
Wow. That's a good
And,
deal. I want to back up a little bit.
Okay.
Do you know how your parents met?
Well, I would say they met at a dance.
Okay.
That's the only thing I think I ever knew of.
Some people know the whole story and others don't know any of it at all. But
Yeah, I just...
yeah. And you mentioned brothers and sisters. Just go down the line and name each one and
Okay,
give us some background on what
one
happened.
of them was named Betty.
Yeah.
She was the next to me, oldest. She was 18 months younger than me.
Yeah.
And the other one was Joyce, and she was 5 years younger than me.
Okay.
And the other 2 boys there, that died there, they died at birth. So
Did they
like
give
I
them a
said,
name?
Never knew the name. In
Okay.
fact, to tell you the truth, the doctor had my folks there bury what was the part of them there in the backyard.
Really?
I can remember that.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
And I've talked to people after since then, and a lot of them said, well, back then there you could get away with a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Depression was on, and so there was no money, so you did whatever you could do.
Right.
And I couldn't tell you what the address was or anything, but that's what happened to them.
Wow. And your sisters, what became of them in life?
Well, both of them are deceased.
Okay. They stick around this area?
No, they stuck around South Bend there. Betty, she went to work to Bendix
Okay.
there at South Bend. And Joyce, she never worked. Joyce never got a job. She got right out of high school and got married, and she married a fellow named Eldon Markle, and his grandfather owned Markleville Lumber Yard.
Okay.
And the town of Markleville was named after that family
All
and
right.
things. So, to get right down to it, there's probably kind of a dull life there, really. There,
I don't know. Markleville's pretty exciting.
and things, and I can remember one time, one of the times while we still lived at South Bend, my dad drove a furniture truck for Reese Furniture Store, and he had a helper, and it was on a Saturday. I'm pretty sure I was out of school, and I was only about. I wasn't even much over 8 years old, but I rode in a truck with him there to deliver some furniture. And we was going through the country, and all at once my dad stopped the truck, and he said, "There's a fella hanging over the fence over here." So they got out of the truck there, and my dad said, "You better stay in the truck," and walked over there, and it was a fella there that had been hunting, and had the gun in his hand, and he started to climb over the fence,
no.
and it evidently there had went off, and
Oh,
it
gee.
had blowed his face off and things.
Wow. Wow.
That was one of the things. And I would say probably the most exciting part of my life was in the Navy. I got an education in the Navy and everything, and I really liked it. And if I had to do it over again, I'd go there again.
Well, we'll get there, but I still got a few more things I want to pick up on here. Now, you mentioned your grandparents? How well did you know your grandparents on either side of the family?
How well did I know my grandparents?
Yes.
Well, I lived with them for a while.
Okay.
I lived with them, and I lived with my aunt and uncle for a while.
Now, which grandparents would these be? Your mom's or your...
I never knew my dad's.
Never knew your dad's grandparents? Okay.
They were from Greentown, and he was a Methodist minister at Greentown Church.
Okay.
But I never did meet. My dad had one uncle, and his name was Lynn Whitaker, and that's the only Whitaker there that I ever visited there. It was his relative.
Okay. Okay. So what do you remember about your grandparents, the ones you knew?
Well, I couldn't ask for better grandparents there. I tell you what there, I said that when I become a father, I was going to treat my grandchildren just like my grandmother and grandfather treated me.
Yeah.
And that's what I tried to do. I don't know if any of them would complain now about it or anything there.
How's he doing? Okay, all right.
I love my grandkids, and I got 4 great-grandchildren too, and I'll tell you what, I think as much as them as I do of anybody too.
Yeah.
I'd do anything for any of them. And
what were their names for the genealogy part of this?
well, I start with my grandsons first there.
Well, I mean your grandparents. I'm working on the grandparents right now.
My grandmother was named Ida,
Okay.
Ida Smith,
Okay.
and my grandfather was named, I got to think a minute now.
Was it Caleb?
Huh?
Was it Caleb?
Caleb.
Caleb?
Yeah, Caleb.
Okay.
Well, I got a great-grandson named Levi, and I kind of get them
Oh, yeah.
two names there mixed up sometimes there, but yeah.
So there's like a 30-year difference between them?
There was 30 years difference between them, and he had two daughters that were married when he married my grandmother.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And they used to come to visit my grandfather, their father, and but they never came when my grandmother was there. They always came there while she was at work.
Huh. Okay.
And another thing, they always wanted money.
Oh boy. Yeah. That's no good. Do you have any personal memories of your grandmother or your grandfather? Some special thing that they did with you, or?
Well, my grandmother spoiled me, I can tell you that there for sure. She'd give me money there to go to ride the streetcar and go to the movie.
Right.
And a lot of times it was a quarter. And my granddad would say to me, while my grandmother would go to work there, he would say to me, "What you doing today?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to show." And he said, "Your grandmother give you some money?" And I said, "Yes." And he says, "How much did you give me?" I said, "Well, she gave me a quarter." And he said, "Oh, that's not enough." So he had one of these little black pocketbooks there. It had about 4 sections in it. He'd reach down in there. He'd get a little bit more. And so I always had a little bit of extra. And there were some of the times there that I would walk then instead of taking the streetcar to town, so I could have really more money than that there to take care and spend there for some candy and stuff like that. I really didn't have an exciting life, I guess, there.
Well, it sounded like a pretty good life.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
I can remember one time there, I wanted to do something, and my grandmother said, "No, you can't do that. And I says, I'm going to run away. She says, go ahead. When you get hungry, you'll come back home. And we lived in, there was a big field between where they lived at and Bendix.
Yeah.
And it had a bunch of shrub stuff. So that's where I went. And I went over there and I sat there. I bet I wasn't there over 10 minutes there. And I thought, I better, now I don't want this. So there was wildflowers, and I picked wildflowers there and took a bouquet back home to her there. And I told her I was sorry, and I never tried it again there. I think.
That's a good story. That's a good one.
Grandma was smarter.
So how old were you when you moved to Anderson?
I was 10 years old.
You were 10? Okay.
I was 10 years old. And like I said, dear, we had come, Dad and I had come and made arrangements there, and made arrangements for some place for us to stay when Mom and Joyce and Betty came. Mm-hmm. And so...
So where'd you go to school?
Well, the first school I remembered I went to was 7th Street.
Okay.
And the second one I went to was Longfellow.
Yeah.
And then I went to the old 29th Street School, mm-hmm. the white building made out of wood.
Yeah.
And then I went to Central Junior High, across from Anderson High School. And then the high school I went to was called Main Street. There's not very many people remembers about Main Street High School.
Where the library is now.
The library sits there now,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
And it was what they called a pre-apprenticed school.
Yeah.
And that's where I went. And like I said, I went freshman and sophomore, and then I quit.
Yeah. Had some pretty rough characters in that school, from what I hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Well, I'll tell you, one of the funny things is, when we came to Anderson, one of the schools, like I said, was Lindbergh School. So I had a teacher named Lowell Walters, and he was from Middletown, and he was also the basketball coach. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't very many of us boys there in his class. And so he says, I expect every one of my boys in this class here to go out for basketball. Mm-hmm. So I didn't even know what basketball was. I come from South Bend, and it's football.
Oh, yeah.
Notre Dame.
Oh, Notre Dame all the way.
And so he says, some of the equipment you got to have, he says, everything will be furnished except the jock strap. Well, I sat there and I didn't know what the devil the jock strap was there. I went home and I told my mother, I says, I need to go and get a jock strap, whatever that is. And I said, they said you can get it at, I can't think of the name.
Deckers?
Deckers.
Deckers, oh yeah.
You go to Deckers there and get that.
Yeah.
So her and I went to Deckers, and I'll tell you what there, when she went to ask for that, I got behind her and didn't want to show my face or something there because I didn't know what the devil that was.
And you didn't know how to put it on. What to do with this
No, they had to tell everything about putting it on or everything. And I started playing basketball. I didn't know you had to dribble the ball. For me to shoot the ball, I had to jump like this to shoot the ball. Everybody else was just standing there just shooting. So I never made the basketball team, and I never tried out again either.
Yeah. So. What did you take at Main Street School? What kind of?
Pre-apprentice course there, which was drafting and
drafting.
It's like for mechanics and different things like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And you say you didn't get all the way through school. You stopped in sophomore year.
Yeah, I quit after my sophomore year.
Right.
I quit and went to. I wanted to. I thought I could get into the service, but I didn't know at the time. Excuse me, I didn't know at the time there that somebody, my mother or my father, or both of them, there had to sign papers for me to get in.
Yeah, you're probably, what, about
So I
16 or
just
so?
waited. Beg pardon?
You're, what, you about 16 or?
Yeah, I was a little over 16 years
Okay.
old.
Yeah.
You had to be 18 or over.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I waited then until I thought there, well, I might as well just wait there till they give me a call there. And my birthday was in July, and in September, I was at Great Lakes Naval Training Station.
Wow. Yeah. So tell me about Pearl Harbor. How'd you hear about it?
Well, when I went to Pearl Harbor, there were still ships there sticking out of the water.
Well, I mean, how'd you hear about the attack?
Beg pardon?
How'd you hear about the attack?
I was at home, and it come over the radio.
Okay.
And it come over the radio, and 3 minutes later, my grandmother called and said, Bill, to my mother, is he going to have to go to the Army? And my mother said, well, she didn't know. She says, probably.
Yeah.
So that's how I found about it. I started, when they come over the radio there that Pearl Harbor had been attacked, I went to the front door and looked out the door to see if there was any airplanes flying around there.
Yeah. Yeah, you probably didn't know where Pearl Harbor was.
I never had heard of Pearl Harbor, to
Yeah,
tell you the
most
truth.
people didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So were you ready to go out and fight, or
I was.
scared, or what?
I was there. I was ready to go there. I guess I wanted to get away from home, really.
Yeah.
But I really can't tell you. But I really enjoyed being in the Navy.
Yeah. Now you quit school when you were 16. How long was it before you joined the Navy? I mean, you go right out of
I
school
was
into the Navy, or was
18.
it? All right, so it was a couple of years yet before you wound up going into the Navy.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, really, Pearl Harbor was 1941.
Right.
And of course, that was just there was only a few days in 1941 that the war
Right.
was going on there. The war really didn't start until later in 1942.
Right.
And
So what'd you do in between there, between quitting school and getting into the Navy?
well, that's when I went to work at the Tile and also went
okay.
to work at Greer Steel.
All right, that makes sense to me now. Okay, yeah.
Like I said, my life wasn't really very exciting except until I got into the Navy, and
Yeah.
then that boosted me up there.
Yeah.
It made a man out of me, and made me appreciate my country. I'll tell you, some of the things that's going on today there is it just upsets me there that I just don't like what's coming around.
Yeah, you saw it from a different angle and understand it better.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So you went to the recruiter, and you went straight to Great Lakes from there?
I went straight to Great Lakes Naval Training Station and spent. I didn't spend over 6 weeks there, and went from there to Shoemaker, California, and I spent a couple days. There was a prison there, a military prison, and I spent. If I remember right, I didn't spend over 3 days there as a guard at the prison.
Right.
And Louisville happened to be in dry dock at Vallejo, California. So that's the ship that I was assigned to. And it was in like I said, it was in dry dock there, and I spent there probably about 4 weeks before we got underway to leave to go to Pearl, and we went to Pearl.
Okay.
And like I said, Pearl was already, the ships were sticking up out of the water and everything. And we didn't spend much time there, and then the next place we went was Whitaker. in the
Okay.
Marshall Islands.
Wow.
That was the first island I went to. And then we were at Saipan, Tinian, Guam. One thing about Saipan, there was women and children floating in the water by the ship. And what had happened was that the Japanese were telling the women and the children that when the Americans landed there, that they would rape all the women and kill the children. And they were jumping off of the cliff
Yeah.
and things.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that was the first mass civilian suicides were there at Saipan.
Absolutely, yeah. They
Yeah.
didn't realize thing there.
Had to be a hard sight to see.
Beg pardon?
It had to be a hard sight to see.
Oh, yeah, it was. People don't realize, what you see with things like that, how much effect it has there on your
Yeah.
mental thing and everything. And
Yeah, well, and you think of the fellows who are on the ground in combat, you think of all they see and how bad that is, but still, it's pretty rough on the Navy guys to see all of that. When you were starting out in Vallejo, what kind of training were you getting at that point?
You mean it like at Great Lakes?
No. When you went out, you went to Vallejo, California, and the Louisville was there.
Yes.
Okay.
We just went and helped maintain the parts down in the engine room,
Okay.
and then we were also learning there what different duties that we would have down in the engine room.
Okay.
OJT.
Okay. On the job training, yeah. All right. And you were in the engine room. That was your station on the
That
ship.
was my station.
Okay. What are some of the things you did?
Well, worked on reciprocating pumps.
Okay.
We also had these big wheels there. We had two in the forward engine room, two in the aft engine room, that regulated the steam, that regulated I got to think, the propellers and things on the ship.
Right.
We had four of them there. Two was run by the forward engine room and two was by the aft engine room. And we had to keep those things synchronized for each side of the ship, port and the starboard side, and also the engine room in the aft there. Because and then maybe the second one side of the ship they'd make you go a little bit. The revolutions would be a little bit more because they'd be making a turn or
Right.
something.
Okay.
But we had to keep those synchronized so we were all on the same boat.
Same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense. So what, they would give you a signal from the bridge and then you would just...
Yeah, we had to wear earphones all the time. We
Okay.
wore, like you got there, earphones there and a speaker there, and then we could communicate with the bridge.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, that's the one part of the ship I wouldn't want to be if you got torpedoed.
You know, this is a funny thing. I don't know if it happened to everybody, but I never give it a thought about that ship ever sinking.
Really?
Yes. You get up in the morning there and you'd go to your duties and things there, and it was just natural, just like going to work at a factory,
Yeah.
as far as I was concerned. But and I've talked to other guys there too, that was the same way, that after a while you just, that was part of your life.
Right.
It was your life.
Yeah.
Well, and you would have been isolated from what was going on around on the outside. You wouldn't have seen
All we knew
anything going on.
was what they
What
were
you
telling
heard.
us up
Yeah.
on top side.
Yeah.
And probably the worst time was in the battle with the Japanese fleet at the southern tip of the Philippines at Leyte
Okay.
in the Leyte Gulf. We were laying in wait for the Japanese fleet to come. And they would keep saying over how many yards off of the port quarter or the starboard quarters there that these ships were coming.
Yeah.
And here we're down there and we're saying, why in the devil aren't we firing some guns?
Yeah.
You know, here they're sound like there's 2,000 yards off the port quarter there, and why aren't we firing or anything like that? But it didn't take long again because we could hear the shells going over the ship.
Wow.
They were just, whoo, just like that going over the ship.
Huh.
And then when we knew when they fired, because the ship will take care and go from the starboard to the port side like this right here. Yeah. They never fire head on. You got to turn the ship and fire from the sides.
Okay.
And
Question.
Yeah. What?
Louisville is what, cruiser?
Cruiser, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Beg
we got
pardon?
5.
Yeah, he was asking if Louisville was a cruiser.
yes,
Yeah.
it was a heavy cruiser.
So.
It was a sister ship, the Indianapolis and the Chicago, and both of those ships were both sunk. In fact, the Louisville was the only one left.
Huh.
And I'll tell you a funny instance that just happened about a month ago. I stopped over here to buy some vegetables at Landis's.
Right.
And there was a girl in there, and I had my cap on, it had the ship and the Louisville and things on it there. And she said, the Louisville, she says, I never heard of it. And I said, well, it was a World War II heavy cruiser. She says, I'm from Louisville, and there's never anything down in Louisville that shows that there was a ship named after our city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she called her brother. So they started there. She says, we're going to work on something there to get a memorial there for the USS Louisville.
There you go.
In Kentucky.
It may happen, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was CA, what was the number on that?
CA-28.
28?
Yes.
Okay.
And the funny thing there, that was my time card number 28 there at the dairy.
I see a pattern here.
That's pretty good.
We get 2.
So you sailed out of where?
Vallejo, California.
You sailed out of there, went to Pearl Harbor. First time you've been on the open ocean, I would expect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I never got seasick.
Good.
The roughest water I was ever on before that was at Great Lakes there. We had to go out there and get on them boats.
Oh, yeah.
And had to oar, and it was cold, and the water was choppy. But I honestly can say I never got seasick.
That's great. Yeah. So what was it like to get up there and did you ever get on the deck and look around and just see water everywhere and no land in sight?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things that really got to me would go up on top side and look over the side at night when the moon and the stars were shining, and you could see the sparkles in the water there as the ship was breaking.
Yeah.
It was breaking the water.
Yeah. Yeah, phosphorus business. Yeah.
And another thing, there was one time there that we didn't set foot on ground for 6 or 8 weeks.
Yeah.
And when you're on a ship there, you got to learn there, that thing's going up and down. You got to get your steps in rhythm.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of bad when we did get on land there. I think we was about like a bunch of farmers there walking like this for a while there.
You're getting into Pearl Harbor, and you said you saw a lot of the ships. There was still a lot of damage there. Yeah. What were you thinking when you saw that?
You just wondered how this ever happened, you know. In fact, it made you mad. It really made me mad there. And then one of the things there that really we blame the Japanese about the bombing. We kind of knew, I think, a little bit that there was something going to go on, and the Japanese forgot about the international date line.
Mm.
And really, it was bombed there the day before it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because there was a difference in the days because of the international date line.
Yeah. Yeah, because they attacked the Philippines the same day, only it was the 8th there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never,
Yeah.
at the first time we was there, when, like I said, I never stepped foot off the ship there. The ship never give us any time off of there. In fact, we didn't stay there very long.
Okay. Just pretty much a resupply stop.
And we became a flagship. We had an admiral on board our ship.
Okay.
And we went out to sea. And the only reason there that the Louisville wasn't at Pearl at the time was because they was with some other ships on maneuvers.
Yeah.
Out at some place there far enough away there that the Japanese never got to where they were at.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason there that the Louisville come in was untouched.
That's a good thing our carriers were out to sea.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were delivering planes to, I think, maybe Wake Island and Midway.
Yeah, Midway.
At the time.
I'll tell you, war is just something that's terrible. For a long time there, when I come back home there, I didn't even try to remember anything going on or anything there. I just wanted to try to get back to normal and everything. And some of these guys there that was in battles at Iwo Jima and Okinawa and everything, I just don't see how they come back mentally. I think maybe at the time, maybe we were stronger because I kind of judge them against the fellas there that I see there that was at where we're fighting at now, really, Afghanistan and things, and Iraq, and these guys are on drugs and all different things there. That didn't happen to the guys that were. They might come back. Some of them there were alcoholics, but as far as being on drugs and everything here, I don't.
Well, your generation was tougher. I mean, you were poor, so what? Everybody else was poor.
Yeah.
You had to work hard. Well, yeah, okay. Everyone else had to work hard, and that's just the way it was.
You're absolutely right there. What's his name there? That was the news guy there that calls it the greatest generation.
Oh yeah, Brokaw. Yeah.
He hit the nail on the head there. I don't think these real young kids that's coming up now had the backbone.
Yeah.
That we had. Of course, we didn't know any better either. That's another thing there. I think that's I've always said this. That's what they liked about the young kids. They could tell you to go jump in the river, and you'll go jump in the river.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
These kids nowadays will argue with you. I can't do this. I can't do that. But back then, we just did what we were told.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were just in Pearl Harbor for a short period of time, then you went to Eniwetok?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think we were there over a few days there, and then we went to Eniwetok.
Now, was that an invasion, or had the island already been taken?
No, we bombarded it.
Okay.
That's what most of our job there with the other ships there was to lay off and bombard
Okay.
so that get this beach cleared enough there for troops there to take there and land on it then.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times we really didn't hurt the enemy because they were so heavily entrenched, but at least we made some shell holes for our guys to jump in and take a little cover.
Well, we found out later there that they weren't on the beach.
Ah,
Ships were bombarding the beach, and the Japanese were back far enough off the beach there that it wasn't doing it there. I seen landing crafts there going in with troops in there and blow up where the Japanese there were hitting them there because we thought there that we had the range on them.
yeah.
But we didn't have there. They were back further there than what we were thought were.
Yeah, must have been tough watching them go in.
Of course, most with us down in the engine room there, when we went to battle stations, that was the battle station. So like we said, we really didn't get to see too much there.
Right.
Once in a while there, we were allowed there maybe to go up when they were shooting the guns and things off there, but most of our communication was just by ears.
Yeah. What were the biggest guns on Louisville?
8-inch.
8-inch?
We had 8-inch and 40 millimeters and 5-inch.
Yeah, that'll make an impression.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, how the big guns, they were probably forward of where the engine room was, weren't they? Or were they just right on top of the engine room? Where?
We were just a little bit back from where the admiral and the captains and they were running the ship there, and where the gun turrets were. We weren't too far back.
Okay. So when the guns went off, could you feel them or hear them or?
We heard them and we knew when they went off there because the ship would roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would roll with that's the reason there that they always fired from the sides, not straight forward there.
Right. Yeah. Oh. From Anahuac, did you go back to like a harbor area to wait for the next battle, or just?
No, we pulled out to sea and we headed towards, I think it was, the next one we headed for was Saipan.
Okay.
It was Saipan, Tinian, and Guam.
Right.
We run all three of them.
They're all pretty close together there.
Yeah, they weren't too far apart.
And all tough battles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you remember about those battles?
Well, let me think here. Saipan was the worst one there that I can remember of the three. I don't know if it was, I had started getting used to seeing what I was seeing. Everything is so new to you there. You don't see that. Back that time you didn't see killing and much of it like that, different things. And so, but the bad things came later on, really. Yeah. The tough, what you call really the tough things are, especially Okinawa. The battle with the Japanese fleet there, nothing happened to us there. We come out clean as a whistle there.
Wow. That was a tough battle now.
Yeah, it was.
That was one of the toughest battles of the war.
We hit them. We hit the Japanese fleet there, and they were blindsided. I mean, they were hit before they ever knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But Okinawa there, I'll tell you, we got wiped out at Okinawa there on top side. the bridge was, that's where the admiral and the captain was killed and a bunch of the officers. It was wiped out on top side.
Who's the admiral?
Oldentorth
Okay.
was his name. In fact, I've got in that book is the pictures.
Yeah.
And I can remember there that it was at night, and Jap suicide planes hit us there. We had two of them that wiped us out up the top. And they come down in the engine room there and said, we need volunteers, which is an old saying. And it was you, and you.
Yeah.
And we went up on top side, clear up there, and we started picking up body parts and throwing them in big garbage cans. No lights on there. You just kind of felt there that you couldn't have lights on because they were afraid there that more fighters or bombers would come in on you there. And we picked up pieces and put them in, and we didn't know if that arm come off of you or whether it come off of him, but they went in a can. And we had to pull out then when daylight came, and we we had what they called after steering back, and that's the way the ship was controlled for us to come back to Pearl Harbor. And we had a aircraft carrier, and I can't tell you the name of it right now, that was hit bad too there. So the two of us,
Franklin?
might have been.
Or Bunker Hill, I think, was also hit.
Two. Franklin and Bunker Hill, there was two.
Yeah.
At Okinawa?
Yeah.
I'm aware of that. got hit
I
bad.
think it was what, I'm not sure. I can't tell you. Maybe the book does right there.
Yeah.
But the two of us there went back, and we were worried all the time that we were going because we really didn't have any defense.
Or speed.
Or speed, right, because we were aft.
Yeah, and they couldn't help you.
No, they couldn't help us,
they
and
were
we couldn't
crippled
help
themselves.
them and things.
Wow.
And so
So the kamikaze hit the bridge?
Hit.
Okay.
Two of them.
Two of them hit.
Yeah, we took two hits on the bridge there with the
Okay.
Kawasaki's.
Wow.
We felt it too in the engine room. I mean, it was like there we run into a
Stone wall.
stone wall or a steel wall there. I mean to say, we got the shock of it in there.
Yeah.
We didn't, and like I said, we didn't know right then there for a few seconds what the devil really had happened there.
Right.
We didn't know if we'd taken a torpedo up forward more or anything, and
Be pretty nerve-wracking. Yeah, more Navy personnel died at Okinawa than Marines or Army.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, combined, the Marines and Army were a little more.
Yeah.
But as separate units, the Navy took more casualties.
We were out on what they called the picket line. Is what we were at
Yeah.
the picket line. So we got the first waves coming in there on us there and everything.
I didn't know they did it at night. I didn't know they attacked at night.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, that's new for me. Yeah.
I did things I never thought I'd do. I mean, picking up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And it's like I said, I really never said too much about it there when I came home and things there. I just
I understand that.
it
Stay
makes
with
me
you.
I get kind of broke up when I start talking about it anyhow now, this long ago.
Well, hopefully from those remains they were able to identify who they were.
Uh-huh.
And do you know what they did with those remains? Did they have a burial at sea later on, or?
We had a barrel when we got far enough away there. We had a barrel on the sea there,
Okay.
up on top side there, all of them.
Yeah.
I forget how many It might, I think it shows that they're in the book there, the bodies wrapped in things ready to be dropped off the side of the ship.
I wonder if the bodies of the Japanese were in that, or if they were just incinerated in the whole thing.
I don't think they did much with them there. I think they just...
I know USS Kidd was hit with a kamikaze, and they wound up giving them just regular military rights.
I know one thing, the Japanese were scared of the Marines.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to get captured, they wanted to make sure it wasn't going to be a Marine that had captured them there.
Yeah.
We had some Marines come on board ship, and some of them there had little bags there, and they had gold in them. And what they were gold teeth. The Marines there, I'll tell you what, there they'd kill a Japanese there, and they'd open his mouth up, and he had gold teeth in him there. He didn't have them very long because they got knocked out. They put them in. A lot of them there made some money when they come home with the gold.
Probably so. Yeah, one of the rumors going around Japan was that in order to join the Marines, you had to kill your parents.
Yeah.
They believe that stuff. Crazy things.
But I've heard a lot. I've talked to a lot of Marines there that we call them gyros, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And that they wish there that they were actually be in the Marines. They wish they'd have been a sailor instead of a Marine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they saw some pretty tough stuff.
And I've always really been proud there that I was a sailor.
There you go. I get a kick out of going to Cracker Barrel or something like that, and I'll see a guy, an older gentleman, walk across the floor, and I'll say he was in the Navy.
Oh.
He's just got a little swagger to him or something.
I've had people tell me there, they walk up around by me there, and they'd say, "Was you in service?" And I'd say, "Yes." They say, "You were in the Navy." And they say, "We can tell by your shoes." My shoes are polished whether I'm going out here mowing the yard or digging in a ditch. My shoes are polished.
There you go.
Yes. I polish my shoes, and I wouldn't go outside there unless I had my shoes polished.
Yeah, the one thing where you were fortunate, you weren't topside when the kamikazes came in.
No.
I think one of the strongest reactions I get from fellows are the fellows who witness them coming in. It just does something to you. You can't fathom anybody doing that.
I don't know what, there was one time, I don't know why, but I can remember being up on top side there when a plane come firing in with machine gun fire, and it didn't take me long to get underneath the gun turret.
Yeah.
And I think it come in unexpectedly. I don't know. I didn't even.
Yeah.
But I can remember there that I could see this plane coming in there to us there and things.
Yeah. And they weren't all kamikazes. Some of them just came in and attacked. And
Yeah.
like the one who hit the Franklin, dropped a bomb on him. It wasn't a kamikaze.
Of course, if they run out of them fighters there, if they run out of ammunition. It didn't matter to them whether they were still going to die or not there. They just flew right, they just come right in there at you there.
Yeah. So, how much damage did you sustain? It was to the bridge area. Was there any other damage on the plane?
No, most of it there was at the two front gun turrets there, and the bridge. The bridge was it was wiped out. There was no way there that you could control anything from the bridge.
So you lost your steering there and had to go to the aft steering.
Aft steering, yes.
But everything else was functioning and
as far as I know,
structurally sound.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I knew there, that was.
Now, I know the Franklin went all the way to New York. Where did you wind up going when you came back from Okinawa?
come back to San Diego.
Okay.
Were you at the garage door?
Huh?
No, I was talking to Jonathan.
Okay.
I opened it.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
San Diego is where we come back to. And then from San Diego there, we went down, come to the Panama Canal, come back up to Philadelphia Navy Yards.
All right.
And that's where it wound up, was at Philadelphia. And I was on there till it was finished, put into mothballs. In fact, there I was the last machinist mate that was left in the engine room there at that time.
Now, I take it they didn't try to repair the damage, they just put it in mothballs? Or did they repair the damage?
When we come back to San Diego is when they took and repaired the damage. And
Oh,
everything
okay,
there.
okay,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, we were, when the war was declared over, we were full body. There was nothing wrong with us there. We
Okay.
were to go some more. In fact, when the war was over with there, we went up to Yellow Sea and went to Manchuria
Oh,
because we had another, after Okinawa, we had another admiral that was put on board our ship there, and we went up to Manchuria as a ship of goodwill.
okay.
In fact, there I got a Japanese rifle that come from a Chinese armory.
Huh.
And everybody on board ship got one there.
Yeah.
The ship went in, and they brought all these rifles back on board ship, and everybody got one. Got a rifle and a what are they?
Bayonet or?
Bayonet.
Yeah.
Well, the rifle got home, but the bayonet never got here.
Oh.
We had to mail them. Had to mail, and when I got home, my rifle was there, but the bayonet, there was no bayonet there.
Oh. Well, those are heavy rifles too. Seemed like they were heavier than the M1s that we had.
In fact, I couldn't ever figure out how a little Japanese there carried this rifle. I mean, it's heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Have you picked one up?
I have. That thing is.
Yeah,
They'd have lost the war just on weight alone. You know.
Darn thing there, you
Wearing you
pick
out.
it up there and you got to bring it up there and push it down there, and I don't see how they.
Wow. So after Manchuria, then you came back to Philadelphia from there, or
We come back to California.
back to California?
And I don't remember now whether it was San Diego or San Francisco, but then we were there for not very long, and then we headed south and went around South America and through the Panama Canal, and like I said, back up to Philadelphia then.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, well, it was quite a few years, we went on vacation to Washington, D.C. And I told my wife and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and daughter and wife and I says, I'm going to stop at Philadelphia Navy Yards and see.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I'm drunk.
Thank you.
And see if I can get in to see the ship, because in fact, I still got my ID that I've carried for 74 years in my billfold.
Oh, really?
Never been out of the billfolds. And I went up to the guard station there, and I said, I was on board ship that was put in mothballs here, and I'd like to see if I could get in to see it. And he said, you got any ID? And I said, yeah. So I pulled out that ID card there. He said, what ship was you on? And I said, the Louisville.
Okay.
And he said, wait a minute, let me look. So he got a big book out there. He kept going through there. He says, buddy, he says, you're 8 months too late. He says it was cut up for scraps 8 months ago. And
doggone it.
I'll tell you what.
That's close.
He could have put a dart in my heart.
Oh, I bet. I'll bet. Yeah, you get attached, don't you?
Yeah?
You get attached to your ship, don't you?
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
That's home.
Yeah.
That is home. You love that. I'll tell you what, you could talk about that ship with all you wanted to, but you let somebody else say something about it there that we didn't like you very well there, and I'll tell you what, there was a fight going on there.
Yeah.
Now, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So where were you when the war ended?
I didn't give Daddy any coffee, but I guess it's probably, or I mean any water.
we were at sea, I know that, but
Yeah, I figured you probably were.
beg pardon?
I figured you probably were
Yeah.
from what you're describing.
Okay, how long after Okinawa was the bomb dropped?
Well, that was in August, and
I don't. Thank you.
No, he doesn't want it.
Okinawa was settled at the end of June. So a couple months.
Could
We
you
went
still
back-
Could you still been sailing back to Pearl? Would it taken you that long?
No, I didn't.
No,
I
no, it
don't
wouldn't have
think
taken
it
that
was
long.
Okay.
I know we were at sea when the war was declared over, because like I said there, we were heading north, and I thought we were heading for Japan, so for the signing of the peace thing there.
Okay, yeah.
And we didn't. We stayed there, and we went past Korea.
Right.
In fact, there we stopped at that time it was just Korea.
Right.
There was no north or south, and we stopped there for something. I forget now. I don't know if we were fueling or something, and then we went back. We went on up then to Manchuria, and then coming back, we stopped at Chifu, China,
Okay.
and we got Liberty. And they had one of these big landing crafts, and they told us now that that's what we was going to go into town on
Right.
in it. And they said stay down low, because the Japanese and the Chinese were still fighting. Not the Japanese, but the communists and
communists and
the
Chiang
nationalists
Kai-shek,
were still
yeah.
fighting.
Yeah.
And they said there'd be gunfire there going across, so stay down low. So we did, and went into this town, and I forget what the name of it was. Oh, this will kill you. We got into town, and so we had to change our money in the currency, in the Chinese money, and all I had on me was a $20 bill.
Yeah.
So I went to this Chinese place there where there's money exchange there, and I told him, I says, I want $5 in Chinese money and $20 in American money, because American money, every dollar was worth $3,000 in Chinese money.
Yeah.
Well, he started digging that thing out like that there, piling them up there, and I said, whoa, 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 whoa. He went to give me $5 back, and I said, no. I said, I want $5 in Chinese money and $15 back in American money there. Well, I finally got him convinced what the devil I wanted. So I was walking around the street there, another guy and I there, and we seen a place there that sold like souvenirs, kimonos, and
Right.
silk handkerchiefs and different things like that. And I says, I'm going to go in there and see what I can take care and buy. Well, there happened to be a little Chinese kid standing at the door on the outside. Now, I just, of course, we don't have any pockets except two little things right here.
Right.
So I had the money stuffed in here, and I just reached down in a jumper like that, and I pulled out. I don't remember now what it was. But anyhow, then I went in, and I was looking around, and all at once I just heard all the commotion outside out there that was there, and I looked out, and I'll bet you there was 25 Chinese little kids out there. And the proprietor there, he could speak English. He asked me if I did anything to a kid that was standing out there, and I said, well, I rested my jumper here and pulled out some money and gave it to him. He says, they're all waiting on you out there for some money.
Oh, boy.
So he says, you better go out the back door. And so I went out the back door and got away from there, but them kids was there. They were waiting.
They were waiting.
They were waiting there. Them little kids were all looking for money. You walk down the street there in that little Chinese town there, and they kept saying, nice Chinese rosebud, nice Chinese rosebud, you know, there. Well, you know what that was there.
Oh, yeah.
and things, and so. So what education I didn't get from school, I got education from in the Navy.
Yeah, you didn't learn that at Main Street, that's for
No,
sure.
I didn't learn that at Main Street there. I said I come out of the Navy way smarter and things. And another thing, to advance in your grades there, you had to read books there, and you had to take a test. It wasn't like there, well, they walk around and say, well, you look like you can make pretty good second class or first class or chief petty officer, you know, there. You had to take a test there to take care and pass. And well, I can remember one of the other things there on board while we were in battle there. We had 2 airplanes on board ship.
Okay.
2 Kingfishers. Mm-hmm. One stayed in the hangar, and the other there stayed up on the catapult.
Right.
And we had one of them there. We had blown off of the catapult with the gunfire there from shore.
Wow. That's pretty close.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I didn't realize they had 2 on board. I knew they had the one on the catapult, but
We had two of the Kingfishers. We had one in the catapult and one in the hangar.
yeah.
I don't know if there was a certain reason for that or what, but
In case the first one got blown off the catapult, I guess.
yeah, I guess so. That's one of the things. And
One thing the Navy has is redundancy.
Yeah. So, well, at least you had good food to eat and a clean place to sleep at night.
sometimes we didn't sleep at night there. I'll tell you there. And you talk about food. There was times there that the water was so rough, they didn't put the tables down. Mm-hmm. You sit on the steel deck down there in the place.
Yeah.
And you'd have that metal tray there, and that ship there would go like this here. That tray would take off, and then finally it'd come back like this, and you didn't know if you was getting your tray or not. There, you might have more. You might have more. You might have had more food there on that tray when it left than what had come on back and things. So.
Yeah.
Oh, and another thing there, I think it was Okinawa. A hurricane come up.
Oh, yeah.
Hurricane came up there, and they raised anchor, and we put out to sea. And of course, dumb me, I had never been around other than what I was in right then, rough water or anything there. And I said, why are we going into that storm? We ought to be running away from it there. Well, I wound up there. If you're out on the water and there's a storm come up, you go to it, not away from it, but you go into it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you're not going to get away from one of those.
No, you don't get away from them there. And But that ordinarily there, you think when you're in trouble you run, but you don't run into it there
Yeah.
unless you really want to fight.
That must have been a tough experience. I heard several ships went down in that typhoon.
Yeah, it was.
It was a
yeah.
bad one.
Yeah, I can remember that thing there. We were like this and
Yeah.
like that and like. In fact, there are some of the times there you'd think you could walk up on the bulkhead there, or the ship
Yeah.
area would roll. I think, was it 30-some? I think one time there we took a 30-some degree
Holy
roll
smokes.
there. That was, I mean, it was,
45 is critical.
Yeah.
yeah, I forget, maybe it wasn't quite that much there, but I know there that there was a certain place there that we were, it could have been there, we could have went on over.
Must have felt like 180 at times.
Well, I might have had something in my undershorts there. Oh,
I can imagine. Wow, you saw some pretty tough stuff out there then.
oh yeah, yeah.
Were there any fires on board at any time?
The only fire I can remember on board there was when them Kamasakis,
Yeah.
they were burning. It was more of them where it was burning than what it was there.
Than the
that
ship.
would have been part of the
Okay.
ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
3.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be a pretty frightening thing to have the thing on fire. Can you imagine being on USS Laffey? I think got hit by 6 kamikazes,
Huh.
and that's a little destroyer, much smaller ship than what
Oh
yours is.
yeah, yeah.
Out of ring.
And they somehow survived it.
I'll tell you what. I think in the Navy, I think one of the toughest jobs is being on a destroyer. I've seen them darn things there almost disappear in the water,
Oh yeah.
and then the next thing you know, they're bobbing up.
Yeah.
But I had some friends that were on a destroyer, and one of them there was a radio man. But I can remember him. I mean, we had a life of luxury on board that cruiser.
Yeah.
Good too.
We had what they called a degunk store, which is what soft ice cream is now.
Oh, okay.
We had it, and all kinds of. We had a tailor shop. You had a mending area if you didn't want to do it yourself. You could take and do that there, and just different facilities there that it wasn't even anything like anything on a destroyer.
Yeah, that sounded like more like an aircraft carrier.
Yeah, and like I said there, I seen those destroyers there. One minute I would see one there, and the next minute there wasn't anything there. Pretty soon here come a bob up here, there,
Yeah.
down and up and out of there. And if you were in a fleet, those destroyers was on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
They run on the out. They were the first ones to take a hit.
Yeah.
And even us there, the carriers were in the middle. You know, if there's anything of a sub being around, there wasn't any destroyers. If there was a cruiser there, we were to take the torpedo first.
Right.
If we could get to it there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
30 seconds.
And this is showing the area where you were. Those are the wheels you were telling us about that you used to keep the steam pressure even. Are you in any of these pictures?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that shows the area where you were. You called them the snipes?
We were snipes.
Okay.
Top side was swab jockeys. And the swab jockeys and the snipes didn't get along very good.
Oh, yeah.
We had some pretty good boxing matches.
Heh.
In fact, I got a scar under my chin here that where I got it.
Oh, really?
Go.
Well, she's a pretty ship, isn't she? Those cruisers were, I think, they were the best ships the Navy had.
What year was it built?
Huh?
Do you know what year it was built originally?
1930 or 31, I forget which it is.
Yeah.
Can I get this thing to balance without?
It was about 10 years old when you were on it already. It was already 10 years old.
Navy shipyard, okay.
We're back on 190028 tape number 3. And I have an article here from Montrose Press, written by R.J. Kaderlik, Kaderlik. And this little section interests me. It says, the USS Louisville, affectionately known as the Lady Lou, had seen her share of action since having a bottle of spring water from Hodgenville, Kentucky, the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln, busted over her bow in 1930. That's not too many guys have that. Too many ships have that distinction. That's something.
Commissioning right there.
Yeah. The Lady Lou, I'll tell you what,
Lady
that's
Lou.
what we called that lady there.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, that was the love of our lives there.
Now, did you cross the equator or the international date line?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh, tell me about that shellback.
Oh, gosh, I'll tell you what there. I was a pollywog for a while, and that lasted more than one day. I'll tell you what, you lay in your bunk there and they'd say, "Oh, pollywogs be on the loose here." I had paintbrushes with I don't know what was on it there, swabbed my throat. I had, they had a knife and it was hooked up to a battery.
Yeah.
Well, they wet you down first there, and they had these canvas things there about that, and they were packed with stuff in them in there, and
Yeah.
you were bare,
Yeah.
and you went through it there, and you got whacked by everybody there that was on each side there as you went through. And then you got there at the end, they put you down on a table, and then they got this big old knife here, and it's got a battery, it's run off a battery there, and you're wet. And you get the shibby jibbies. And I don't mean, maybe. But I'll tell you what, that was something to, that was something to remember. I had no idea that they ever did anything like, I think that's abusive now.
Oh, yeah.
What they can do.
Yeah, you had one of the tougher ones.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
And that's for anybody who hadn't crossed it,
It don't make
including
any
the
difference
captain.
if you're a general or an admiral.
Admiral.
If you've never been, you'll go through it.
Yeah.
There isn't no.
No exceptions. Yeah. And what about the international date line? Did you probably crossed that one too?
Oh, I
didn't you?
crossed that there a few times there.
They do any ceremony for that?
No,
I know some ships have done ceremonies crossing the date
I
line.
never remember doing
Yeah.
a date line, going across the international date line. You see, it's a day later in Hawaii than what it is in San Francisco, I think, you know. So we would leave, or is it vice versa?
I think it's just west of there yet. Hawaii, I think, is still on.
I can remember,
This
I don't know where we come back. I didn't come, We didn't come back to the States very many times. From the time there that I went on board there, we come back for repairs.
Yeah.
That was bad enough for repairs, but otherwise we just went to Pearl. And but the nice thing about it was there, if you were going, you would lose a day, don't you? And then you're coming back there, you gain a day. So
Yeah.
it might be Tuesday when you left Hawaii there, and by the time there or coming from the east, be Wednesday there when you got across.
Yeah.
And that's what got the bombing of Pearl Harbor messed up. The Japanese had forgot all about the
Yeah, the dateline.
the international date line. I don't know if it was on purpose. It could have been on purpose. Because I think we had enough, we're getting enough information that something was going to happen.
Right.
That the Japanese are going to go in with the Germans.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop.
Okay.
Oh,
Unless it's something you don't want on tape. Okay, go ahead. What's the story there?
the recruiter asked me there that this guy asked me if I wanted to go. How come you picked the Army? And I says, oh, I don't know. He says, I think you ought to go to the Navy. He says, you're physical fit and you're qualified. And of course I wasn't very big. I only weighed 128 pounds.
Yeah.
And little, and I could crawl in and out of those, I called them manholes.
Yeah.
But, and I says, I don't know how to swim. He says, buddy, don't worry about that. He says, we'll teach you how. You'll know how before you leave. Well, I got the Great Lakes. I got up on that tower up there and had to jump off that tower. I don't know how many times I went down and how many times I went and got up. But that boatswain mate was standing on the side of the pool saying, kick those feet. Move those arms, kick those feet, move those arms. Well, I finally got some of it there, and he says, I think you know enough there to take care and not to drown.
And that's all that matters.
That's all that's about it. And then when I got on board ship, my assign in case of abandoned ship
Yeah.
was the nets with the corks on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rope corks
Oh, yeah.
hang there, and you're halfway down in the water with those darn things there, so
Yeah.
really, but but I always thought that was funny. He says, don't worry, buddy, there, he says, there, you'll know how some way there before you leave.
But you're in the engine room. You won't make it out of the ship if it goes down.
That's right, and you know another thing they didn't do?
What?
They dogged those
Those hatches?
hatches.
Yeah.
They dogged them down. They had a Marine standing at the top of them, and if you tried to get out, he had a right to shoot you during wartime. Now in
Well.
peacetime, it's a different thing. But that's right.
Yeah, you wouldn't have got out, that's for sure.
But you know that, and I'm telling you, to this day, it amazes me because I was never, wasn't any time that I was really scared on board that ship.
Yeah.
And I always thought that's because I was a laid-back Hoosier. we didn't, if somebody tells you to do something, you do it.
Yeah, you just do it. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. Yeah. What'll happen is going to happen.
But there was guys on board ship there, I'll tell you, that was in their 40s. There was a guy down in the engine room there.
Huh.
He was from Louisiana, and his name was Ogilvy. And he was a baker. He owned a bake shop in Louisiana, and they had him down in the engine room as a machinist mate.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I found out about that that they wanted you, there was a right way and there was a Navy way, and they intended you to do it their way that they wanted it done.
Oh, yeah. So, from China, did you come home from China and muster out at that point, or did you go somewhere else?
You mean me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
No, I never got home. I never got home, and the war was over with for a couple months or so.
Yeah. So you got out in 46.
Yeah.
All right. And they counted the service years for World War II up to December 31st of 46 because they had so many guys to get home.
Yeah.
So when you finally did come home,
I think I come home in September.
okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's when I come home, in September.
So you followed the ship back to Philadelphia, and you were on board. And you were one of the last fellows off the ship when they mothballed it. And then, did you muster out of the Navy at that point, or?
No, I had to go to Great Lakes Naval Training Station. That's where I was discharged from, was Great
Okay.
Lakes Naval Training Station.
Okay.
And I got on the L up at Milwaukee, and took the L to Chicago. Then I took the South Shore from Chicago to South Bend, and first place I went to my grandmother's house.
Ah.
Oh, that made my dad mad. Oh, God, he was madder than a hornet there. I called him up and said, "There," he said, "Where you at?" And I says, "I'm at Grandma's house." "You don't live there, you live in Anderson." So they had to come and get me, but he didn't take that very well.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it was on the way.
oh yeah, it was on the way there, and I loved my aunt and I loved my grandmother. I'll tell you what, there was
Yeah.
both of them there carried me around there on a pillow.
Yeah.
And what I did was all right, or this or that, or what if I needed. My grandmother, I can always remember she'd give us money.
Yeah.
And like my two sisters,
Yeah.
if she'd give me a dime, she'd give them a nickel piece. She never give them, and she'd always, and made my dad mad. She'd always say, "He's just a little chunk out of my heart." Of course, I was the only boy,
Yeah.
and
Oh, well.
and that's the way with these boys. The grand boys that I got there, they're the chunk out of my heart. There
you
isn't
go.
anything I wouldn't do for them.
Yeah.
And all of them know them. And they're all Cub fans. I bring them. I
Raised 'em right.
brainwashed them there. The minute I saw them when they come out of the wound there, and I touched them there, I put Cub on them right then.
We gotta quit this interview right now.
So I take it you eventually made it back to Anderson.
Big pardon?
I take it you eventually made it back to
I
Anderson.
eventually made it back to Anderson there, yep.
And-
And that's when I met Wilmetta here, my wife there. And I knew her. She was next door neighbor of ours when we lived out in Grandview. And I knew who she was. I didn't know her personally. I knew her husband. I'm her second husband.
Okay.
And he died in 1943, but we were really good friends. And I never did see her because she run a beauty shop in Anderson, so she was never home where I could see her come home from work and things
Right.
like that. But then they had this, in 1943, they had a daughter, and I wasn't at home, but I sent a lamb for a birthday for it.
Oh, okay.
So when I come home from the Navy, I got something else, and I took it to the house where her and her mother-in-law lived, and give her another present. And I got to talking to her, and I said to her, why don't we go out and get a cup of coffee? And she said, so we went to Muncie and ate at a drive-in restaurant over there and come back. And the next thing I knew there, I was waving at her as I would meet her. She was on the way to Delco. She had got a job at Delco at that
Okay.
after that time. And we always crossed paths over on Ohio Avenue and thing. So I'd always blow the horn and wave there. And so finally I started dating her and everything. And so we finally got married. So, and we've been married going on 72 years.
That's a pretty good run. Wow. Was it a real fancy proposal? Did she get down on one knee and beg you to marry her? Marry you?
No,
or something?
it wasn't there. I said there to her, I said, you know, I think I'm in love with you. And she says, well, I'm in love with you. And so eventually we said, I don't know, we went together for, you see, that was 1943. We got married in 1948.
Okay. And where did you get married?
We got married at her parents' home in Elwood.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a minister that she knew, and he's the one that performed, and both families were all there at the house
Yeah.
there and everything there.
That's why you've been married so long. My theory is that the more you spend on the wedding, the shorter the marriage.
Oh,
But if you go in and just have a nice, simple wedding, the marriage will last a long time.
I think long marriages last there for love,
Yeah.
not just to be with somebody.
Yeah.
There's too many of these people there that's now is, oh boy, and after about the first year, hey, the grass looks greener on the other side of the fence.
Mm-hmm.
And she was another person that changed my life there, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
My dad was a Catholic, and I was sprinkled in the Catholic church. In fact, I was at Notre Dame's cathedral,
Okay.
and but I never went to any Catholic thing there. But then I married her, and I become a Protestant.
Yeah.
Even though I never went to Catholic church, I was baptized
Right.
and things. So there's somebody there along the line that has an effect on your life there, and
Yeah.
and this lady has that's for sure.
She's a good one.
Yes,
I can tell
and her
that.
daughter is the same. She's not a stepdaughter to me.
Yeah.
I raised her. She was 5 years old there, and I've raised her since she's been 5 years old there, and so she's my. Anybody says something about you got any children? I say, well, I got 2 daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't put one before the other.
Well, tell me about your 2 daughters. What's their names and what's kind of become of them in
Well,
life?
my oldest daughter, who is my stepdaughter, really, is named Julie Gentry.
Okay.
And she's married, and she's got 2 sons and 2 granddaughters and 1 great-grandson, grandson.
Mm-hmm.
And the other is Connie. She worked out at Guide, too. She worked in,
Test lab.
huh?
Test lab.
In test lab?
Yeah,
Wild.
at Guide.
Okay.
She has 1 son, and that's him and Anna. And then she has a grandson. And both smarter than her father ever was, I'll tell you. And they're always they're doing somebody is checking on us all the time here.
That's good. That's good. You have family like that.
We're blessed.
Yeah.
With daughters, son-in-laws. Both my son-in-laws are good too, and all my grandkids, great, and the otherwise are great too. I wouldn't trade them for anybody else in the world.
How many grandkids? How many great-grandkids?
Well, I got 3 grandkids,
Yeah.
and I got 4 great-grandkids.
Okay.
Johnson's got a little boy that's just going to be, well, he's 2.5 years old, you might as well say now. And he's, like I said, he's a Cub fan too.
Yeah.
What are you, a Reds fan? No?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I got all kinds of Cub stuff. I got big picture of Wrigley Field here over the fireplace in the family room here. I've got blankets. Every time my birthday comes or Father's Day or Grandfather's Day, I got one of them there buying me a Cub blanket or Cub socks or underwear or everything like that. So I'm one of, as far as family goes, I'm probably one of the luckiest guys there is around.
Yeah. Well, you told me about your work history. You wound up retiring from Eastside. And what kind of organizations have you been involved in? I mean,
Well, I've been a Mason over 50 years.
okay.
And when my wife was well, we used to go to Bethany Church there. We'd gone there for about 30 or 35 years
Okay.
at Bethany Church. Like I said there, I volunteered at Community Hospital for 27 years. And if they hired a bunch of new people there, like Keith, a lot of times he always had a talk with them there, and he'd always have me to come down, and he'd always use me as an example, and he says, this fellow here's been here so many years there, and he says, he works for nothing. I said, yeah, free lunch. But I always thought there that the dairy was the best place there that I ever was around there. Everybody, it was family. I mean, if you needed help, the Whitakers would help you. I mean, if you things. And how I got to volunteering at the hospital was there's a guy and his wife named Bob Moore. And they both went to East Lynn Christian Church for the first church that we started going to. And we went to the laundromat over here on Broadway one time there, and they happened to be in there. So his wife said to me, what you doing, Bill? And I says, well, I'm retired now. Oh, she says, you are? She says, are you doing anything? I said, no. I said, I'm just working around the house. She said, you ought to become a volunteer. She said, community hospital. And I said, oh, I don't know about that there. So we talked a little bit there, and I didn't say yes or no there, and I come home. 2 days later, I went out to the mailbox there, and there was a letter for me there, and it was an application for me to join the auxiliary. And I said, well, I got to talking to Wilmetta there, and I says, well, really, I'm not doing anything here. I had a small orchard out here.
Right.
I said, I'm just doing yard work and that stuff like that there. And I said, besides that, I need to be around people. I says, I was a salesman too.
That's true. That's true.
So I said, let's just fill out these applications. And she said, well, you fill out yours first and go see what you think about it. And then she says, I'll make up my mind. So I filled out my application and I went. And I'll tell you, 90% of the guys that were volunteering there were Delco guys that retired from Delco Remies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you could volunteer in X-ray and about 5 different things, pushing wheel trailers, we transported all the people. And so most of these guys had all the days of the month there taken up. So my first probably 3 to 5 months was I helped a guy named Jim Gilmore walk around with a watering can, watering the flowers and different things inside of the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And where the ramp is at the hospital now, it'll take you back down to the newer part of the hospital. That used to be a flower bed in there, and he tended the flower beds, watered them, and so once a month, that's what I did. I helped him do that for a long time. And it finally took me 5 years there where I could start pushing a wheelchair. And so this Bob Moore at that time there was president of the auxiliary, the men. The men and the women were separated. They had their president, and the Redcoats had their president. And he said to me one day, Tom Dillman, I don't know if you ever heard of Tom Dillman. He was an insurance guy.
No.
In Anderson, had an insurance business.
Yeah.
He said, he's having a hard time making out the program when these people are supposed to work. And he said, would you like to help him? And I said, yeah, well, sure. I said, I'll take care and help him. Well, it turned out there that I had a full-time job because Tom Dillman didn't do nothing anymore there. I was doing that darn thing. And really, I was working almost every day in the week. If somebody didn't show up, I had the attitude there that if I was available, I needed to go do that job there because those people were looking for somebody to help them. And so that's what I did. I did that there, and finally I was elected president then of the men's Redcoats. And I was president off and on there for, I don't know, 8 or 10 years. Finally, I almost had the job permanent. And so I said to the lady that was president of the auxiliary, I said, I says, you women are volunteering, and we're volunteering. I says, why are we called Redcoats and Pink Ladies? I says, we're volunteers.
Yeah.
So she says, well, let's talk to somebody to see if we just change it, make this one organization, volunteers. So we went in, and I think it was Keith Trent.
Yeah.
It was either him or Dwayne Cox that was in charge, really, of the doings of the volunteers. Anyhow, we got it changed there where everybody there was volunteers. It wasn't Pink Ladies or Red. And I had a couple Pink Ladies that never spoke to me for 2 years because I took away the Pink Lady away from them there and made them volunteers.
Yeah. There's always going to be somebody get upset about whatever you do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I got to thinking, why are we separated?
Yeah.
Why do we have our own president, and why do they have their own president and things when we're volunteers there? So I said, that's what we did, and we got it done. And the ones that didn't like it there, they were outvoted. So we became volunteers, and that is really when I really became friends with Keith Trent.
Yeah.
He's one of the best guys I ever met.
He is. There's something special about him.
If you ever talk to him, he probably tells you there about how I got him into trouble once.
What you do?
We started having buses to go to Wrigley Field for baseball games.
Yeah.
Buy the tickets there. So the first year that Keith had anything to do with it, we went to Wrigley, and we got off. I got off. He was on one bus, and I was on another one bus, and I got off before he did. And there's always guys there in the parking lot there saying, "You got tickets for sale? You got tickets for sale?"
Yeah.
And so I got stopped, and the guy there was about 4 guys there, and he said, "You got any tickets for sale?" And I said, "No." I don't have, but the guy that's got the extra tickets is coming there with, it was 2 boys and a shirt. And I'll tell you what, they converged on Keith there and his sons. They thought they were going to get something happened to them. And to this day, Keith Trent, he'll bring that up, always up there if he's talking to somebody. This guy, he says, my kids still talk about that there, that he says he had us scared to death. So from then on, when we went to baseball games,
Yeah.
Keith and I rode on the same bus, and he made sure I sat on the front seat there by the door, and I had the tickets to sell, because they even run alongside the bus there saying you got tickets to sell.
Yeah.
Well, I always had one. Then my 2 grandsons, or 3 grandsons, they were all bigger than me. In fact, they're all over 6 foot tall and big, robust. So I'd always sit in the front seat with the tickets, with one of them sitting with me. And these guys would jump on the bus, and a lot of times there, they would just grab the tickets and jump off there. Well, I had the boys there hold the tickets. So when they jumped on the bus, they had to go through, they'd give me the money, and they had to go through my grandsons there to get the tickets.
Yeah. That's like having your own bodyguards.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's
I never
pretty
felt,
good.
Whenever I would walk down the street with him, or either one of the other 2, I didn't have any fears of anybody attacking this little guy there, because I had some big ones there alongside of me.
Yeah, I think twice before I messed with you.
Well, the other 2 make me look like a midget.
Huh?
I said, those guys make me look like a midget.
Yeah.
They're so big.
Well, yeah, Mark, he's 6'7", almost 6'8". Jay is about
6'5".
6'5".
Gee, wow.
Johnny, you're 6'5", aren't you? You're 6'4".
3.
Yeah. Big enough.
They didn't take after their grandfather.
You won't see them stuffed down inside an engine
Yeah.
room either, will you?
Well, one thing they took after the grandfather, they're all 3 of them are good fellas.
There you go. That's the important part.
They'll do anything there that they can do there to take care and help you.
Yeah. Is there anything else about your personal life history or your military history that you'd like to get on this film?
I
Anything
tell you,
you've left
like
out?
I tell you, I have a short memory on. I found out there that you don't remember things when you're 94 that you did when you were 30.
Got an awful lot stored up there. How about you? You think of anything we missed that you're interested in, curious about?
I used to take him golf.
Oh,
We'd go over here to Boca Real,
Yeah.
and of course you were only what?
Maybe 10,
Yeah.
Were you that old?
maybe not, maybe 7.
I
or
thought
8.
maybe he's about 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'd always let him there. We'd tee off there, and I'd always let him not count his strokes till he got up on the green. So he always liked to go play golf with me, and he wouldn't go play golf with his dad because Bill wouldn't let him take care of it. He had to count from the time Mary picked the ball up there until he had to go. So he
Well, the other thing, we'd bring McDonald's with us, and halfway through we'd sit down and eat McDonald's.
Yeah.
Which is-
There you go. Well, you chose your grandpa well, didn't you?
And not only that, we'd go fishing, and I would spend more time. We'd go here to Aqua Gardens,
Yeah.
and I'd spend more time there getting a line and a hook there out of the bushes there behind us there than I did there. And especially Mark, he used to be a burger chef back then there on
Right.
Broadway.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be down there at Aqua Parks there 5 minutes there, and he'd say, "Grandpa," and I'd say, "What?" He says, "I think I'm hungry." Hungry? He says, "Yeah." So we'd wind up going to Burger Chef there, and he'd take care of that there, and we'd go back fishing there. We might fish a half hour, and he's hungry again. So,
Big boy.
That's good. Well, is there anything in life you haven't gotten around to doing that you wished you could have done? fly to
always
the
said
moon?
I wished I could have had more kids.
Well, okay.
We thought 2 was enough.
Yeah,
But you know, as I got older, I thought, man, I wish we'd have had a half a dozen or so.
yeah. Of course, it's easy for you to say.
Oh, yeah. Well, Wilmetta's brother, Thurman, they had 7 that lived.
Wow.
And I think that there was 2 that died at birth, too,
Right.
there. So there would have been 9 if they'd all lived. And that family right now has got more than 50 of them. The adults, grandkids, and great-grandkids, and I think down there, they're almost in the great-great-grandkids.
Wow.
They could have a reunion and fill the thing up. Whenever they had the Runyon reunion there were more real name Runyons there than
Yeah.
there were anybody else.
And the last thing is that we always ask our veterans to say a few words for posterity. You got any words of wisdom or personal philosophy that's kind of kept you in life?
Well, I always put family first, and always tried to do a good job there. Whatever job I did, I always tried to do a good job. In fact, I've had offers for people to mow my yard, and I still mow my yard because I think I can do a better job there than they do. I can do it the way I want it.
There you go.
I'm not perfect, but I had a neighbor, I had a valve replaced in my heart in 2008. So he would come over and he'd mow the yard. And he'd get done, and he did a good job. But I just looked out there and I thought, I do a better job than that. I need to be mowing that yard thing. So I just think people need to take care and put God and family first there, and be kind to everybody there at things there. If you can help somebody out there really that's in need, you need to do that. And I guess I'm just now waiting for my time, and I beat my grandfather, so
Go double or nothing.
yeah, that's it, yeah. That's like when they put this valve in my heart, that was 2008, that surgeon said, you're good till
It was 20 years.
2108 or something like that. I said, 2108, I says, there's no way that I'm going to be around here that long. And he said, and we go to Dr. Jetty
Oh, yeah.
over at Community, and he always checks that valve there, and he says, boy, he says, that's really in good shape. And I says, that Dr. Welsh that performed surgery on me said, Bill, you got a blue ribbon heart valve put in there. He said, from a blue ribbon pig. So, you're good for a long time there. No, Dr. Jetty, every time I see, he puts that stethoscope up there, my heart up there. Good shape, Bill. Good shape, Bill. Dr. Jetty's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
We go to him there, like I said there, and he always says, Bill, he says, you need to be down in the emergency room again. He says, I miss you when I come down there to the emergency room.
Well, we're about out of tape, so I want to thank you for this interview and for your service to our country.
Well, thank you
Appreciate
very
it,
much
Bill.
for